Hello, and welcome to another episode of Healthy Perspectives. My name is Vernon Solomon. Aging is something that each and every one of us has to look forward to, and because of that, many persons approach aging with fear. As a point of encouragement, one author actually says, old age is not so bad when you consider the alternative, which we know what that may be. And I sat with Mr. Tony Johnson, owner of the Siboney Beach Resort, who allowed us to sit here in his front yard to discuss the aging process. At the age of 90, the youth, the vitality that he has, he shares some words of wisdom that each and every one of us would be able to benefit from. Well, Mr. Johnson, thank you very much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to sit with us today on Healthy Perspectives. And I use the word busy because you're a busy man. The world, we all seem to be extremely busy. Do you find that as a society, as a nation, or as a people in general, that we're a bit too busy?
Perhaps, but we should be busy. The fact that I am still busy, the fact that I'm still working, is, I think, one of my stronger points. I think it's why I'm still active in mind, because I'm active in body. I'm actively doing something, I'm achieving something. Not just the work that I'm doing, I do work for charitable organisations and so forth too, and all that is highly desirable. The last thing I would want to do is sit down and do nothing. I don't want to be a retired person sitting in a rocking chair drinking tea. That's not my aim, and not my idea of what a person my age should be doing.
You bring up two issues, achievement and age. Do you find that it's important for you to have achieved certain things? Society places such high value on success and achievement and what you've done in life.
Yes, but success and achievement doesn't necessarily mean having a house on the hill and a Rolls Royce or whatever it is to drive around on. Success, I think, is feeling proud of yourself and what you've done. I feel proud, I feel pleased, I get return. I get something back when I help people who need help, who are less fortunate than I am. You and I are fortunate. We're born in a good society. You had good parents, obviously. I had good parents. We were born to be strong people, physically, active. That's terrific. If we don't use that, that's to our shame. Using it is what makes us feel good, to my mind. The fact that I have helped other people, the fact that I am good at what I do. I think it's a pity that too few people concentrate on being good at what they do. Why do you go to work? Well, I have to work to earn money. No, not just to earn money. You do have to have money. That's an essential part of life.
Right.
You don't have to have vast wealth. You do have to have enough to be comfortable. More to the point, you have to feel pleased with what you're doing. Pleased with your contribution to society, contribution to yourself. Do I feel pleased about what I've done? Yes, everything I've done I've tried to do well. There's always someone who can do something better than I can. There's always the champion out there who can do things better. But what I've done well. What I've done to the best of my ability. Some of it is work, some of it is fun.
That being the key, to the best of your ability, because when we talk about aging successfully, and I have to ask you this in front of our viewers, do you mind us talking about your age?
Not in the least. I say to people all the time, guess how old I am, but don't tell me. They say, oh, and I said, don't tell me. And then I say, next year in March, next year I'll be 90. They say, wow, I thought 75.
So do you think because you've done these things to the best of your ability that you have successfully aged?
I think it's part of it. Genes have to play a part, obviously. But not just genes. The fact that I feel useful. I still have my organisation for disabled kids. I've helped people. I have several people who are around. There's a young woman I've helped for years. She's very successful now in what she's doing. Every time she sees me, she comes up and says, thank you. Well, that lifts me. It lifts me like that.
How do you define old age then? And I hate to use the expression old age, but that's what the researchers, those are the expressions that they use because we're classified or placed in these segments. But how do you, putting all of the technicalities aside, define what it means to old age?
I don't use words like that. And when people use OLD, I say no swear words in my person, please.
Good job.
4-letter words are all right, 3-letter words are not. But I think now that you've pressed me on the subject, I think it's when you give up. And you say, I can't do any more. Sit in the rocking chair, where's the cup of tea?
Yes.
You know, don't give up. There comes a point, obviously, when you're forced to sit in the rocking chair. And that, I suppose, is those 2 words you're using. And I won't.
And I'm glad you put it that way, because you answered my next question of whether or not you consider yourself to be old. And you don't. By no means.
Don't use that word, my friend. Haven't I just told you that? Swearing at me.
And it's the satisfaction, because you've obviously gotten a great deal of satisfaction.
Oh, absolutely. I do get a great deal of satisfaction. I move flexibly. I think flexibly. I act flexibly. All those things. Great. I feel great about it. I feel proud of myself. I feel proud of my contribution still to society. When people talk about retiring, can't wait to retire. What? At 60? You're mad? That's 30 years I'd have wasted.
Exactly.
And the thought of retiring is something I'm entertaining. When I've got, next year my birthday will be 90. There's the century. Maybe when I get there I could think of retiring and doing less.
We have to take a quick break, Mr. Johnson, but we'll be right back. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're continuing our discussion today with Mr. Tony Johnson here on Dickinson Bay. And before we took the break, Mr. Johnson, you were explaining some of the things that you've done, and I will stop using the 3-letter word.
Thank you.
But what has contributed to your longevity, do you think?
Attitude, activity of body and mind. As a boy, I didn't watch television for the simple reason we didn't have television. It hadn't been invented.
Okay.
You'll be amused to know that broadcast radio started in England 2 years before I was born. Broadcast radio did not exist until 2 years before I was born. So we didn't have the disadvantage of television. And so I was very active as a boy. Fortunately grew up in Australia. My mother bore me in England. My father said, you know, we should be in Australia where the boys will have a better chance. And he took my brother and me and my mother to Australia, which was great because the climate was so much better, the opportunities were so much greater. And we would have lived in the East End of London, we lived in maybe the East End of Melbourne, but whatever. It was great.
Okay.
I was on a bike swimming in the local pool, in the river, in the dam, just doing things all the time.
You're very active.
Very active. And that was terribly important, I think. And we started school I started at 4, primary school at 10. I'd finished primary school. I went to secondary school, where I was sent to a high school because I was bright, where I was supposed to learn Latin and Shakespeare and so forth, which didn't work with me. So they realized that I should be in a more active place where there were no girls in the school. I didn't need that at that age. Later maybe, but so they sent me to a trade school, which was terrific because I learned how to do woodwork, all the machine tools, the hand tools, metal tools, electrical. I learned how to use lathes and milling machines and all sorts of things and how to file. I taught one of my employees here one day how to use a file properly. It sounds simple, just filing a piece of metal. It isn't. You change the amount of weight on your hands as you go along. And he worked later for Liat and he said, you know, every time I pick up a file I think of you. And I learned all those useful things, and so I could repair my own car and do things, and I did things, made things, but big things, out doing them, outside, on the bike, travelling all over the place, in the pool, swimming down the river. Wonderful. Swim down that river and round the corner and walk back. Oh man.
And as you've matured, has that changed?
Then I learned to sail from a book. I liked the thought of sailing. And I had to work on Saturday mornings and Friday evenings selling shirts to make the money to hire a little boat for 2 and 6pence to sail on the Albert Park Lake and learn to sail. And then I read more books and I learned to yacht. And has it changed? No, I still do active things. Last night I swam down to the end of the bay and walked back up. I felt 10 years younger when I got back. Magic. I felt so much better. Just the physical exercise, the doing it, the stroking down, the lying in the water, just floating, and then walking on the sand coming back. Magic. Magic.
What are some of the other exercises that you do?
I do a little physical, but I mean of the organised exercises.
Okay.
But not a great deal. It's mainly that sort of thing. I do some for my abs, you know.
Okay. Six-pack.
Well, it's a one bulge at the moment. I'm sorry to say, the six-pack ain't there.
What about your eating habits? Because
Oh, that's very important. It's very important to me. I'll go back a bit. I was in an army hospital for 6 months. I'd had malaria and all sorts of things affected me. People died all around me. When I came out of there, I was fortunate to meet someone who was interested in naturopathy.
Okay.
He said, learn to eat right and live right. And living right, of course, is part of that activity, which was natural to me anyway. But a very important part of it was eating right. I eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. I used to eat red meat. I don't eat red meat at all now. I had the beginnings of prostate cancer, which I did not have attended to in the usual way of operations and injections of radioactive seeds. But I cut out dairy altogether because I don't believe that's good for you. I take certain spices like turmeric. I drink green tea, which I didn't do much of before. I've always got a lot of protein from nuts and beans. I think that's very important. I eat a lot of raw vegetables and fruit. I don't drink any of those carbonated, sugarated drinks. I think they're bad for you. I know they're bad for you.
Of course.
I drink a lot of water. I drink a little juice, but mainly it's eating the fresh fruit and vegetables and fresh things like the nuts. I do have eggs. I don't believe that is bad for you. I eat a lot of fish. I think that's good for you.
Do you think having relocated, living here in Antigua, the beautiful island in which it is, you're now able to eat indigenous to Antigua, eating from the earth?
Not enough. I wish I could have more. I really wish I could eat more. When I can, I do. Mango season at the moment, magic. I love it. I buy limes and so forth. Anything that I can buy locally, I do. I'd like to buy even more. I'm sorry that we have to import so much. But eating, thinking about eating, and I'm fortunate in a lot of ways. Like you're fortunate. You were born to be tall and good looking and smart.
Thank you.
And all that's good. But
right.
That's just good fortune.
Right.
It isn't your doing. What you do with it from then on, that's your credit. That you take care of yourself, that's to your credit. That you cut your hair. Oh, I've got to have a haircut. That's all to your credit, but we are lucky to have these things. Now, make the best of what we are lucky with. And I'm lucky to have ended up in Antigua, which I think is a fabulous place. I love Antigua. It's why I've lived here for 54 years. I'm lucky to have moved into the hotel business, which enables me to work to my age and have all these friends. My 85th birthday, I got up and said, I am so lucky to be walking around like this, to be walking around in Antigua like this, to be walking around on my own lovely property on Dickinson Bay like this, to have 85 friends who've come, 90 friends who've come from all over the world, from London, from Paris, from Sydney, from Boston, from Barbados, from Antigua, that I've got all these friends who want to be with me. Wow, isn't that magic?
Do you think that, and this is by no means a scientific question, but do you think that having lived here in Antigua for the last 50 some odd years has helped with your longevity?
Absolutely.
If you would have been back in Australia or in some other developed world?
Absolutely. It's helped in more ways than one. I met West Indians when I was in London. After leaving Australia, I was roaming the world. That's a story in itself. But I was living in London for a couple of years. By good fortune, I found that there was a club underneath me where West Indians hung out. I'd learned to dance 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And now I see West Indians. I was mouth agape. I loved that. So I loved being with the West Indians and dancing with them and socializing with them. I learned to scuba dive out of a book. I used to teach it. I could dive, free dive, without a tank, 75 feet.
Really?
Down and back. It's all wonderful feeling.
Right.
Down there swimming around, looking at the fishes,
The
enjoying
freedom.
all that. It's so healthy. I come up and I'm in the sunshine. I learned to windsurf at 59. Magic. Over the waves. Nothing there, just me and the water, and maybe a pal had come with me occasionally. On a little board, me in control of the whole thing. Out there, the sunshine shining on me. The fresh air, the motion, the freedom, the mind, body. Go and sit on a beach for half an hour and relax.
And relax
Back
yourself.
on the board. Magic.
They're telling us we need to take another break. We'll be right back. Welcome back again. We're continuing our discussion today with Mr. Tony Johnson. And before the break, Mr. Johnson, you mentioned something that's near and dear to our program, mind-body, and the importance of having that balance between the two, letting our mind work with our body, making good choices, good decisions.
Well, of course, it's so important. The interaction with other people, that you are interacting with them, that you're enjoying it. One of the pieces of good fortune for me, working in the hotel, is that I meet so many new friends, guests in the hotel, old friends coming back, young people. I consider the people who are working with me to be my friends. That's fantastic. It's fantastic for my mind to be surrounded by people and just keeping the mind free, not letting little things worry you. I have a saying, I don't give a something or other, four-letter word, and that's important. Too many people worry about little things. If you can't fix it, forget it.
Yeah.
If you can't fix it, it don't matter. So many things that we worry about, it don't matter.
Not being negative with this question, but do you have any fears about growing, I can't use the bad
More
word,
mature.
more mature?
No, it's a process, it'll happen. I do say that if I get to the point where I'm
Right.
my friends have to take me to the water's edge, give me my flippers and say, now you remember, Mr. Johnson, that you've always had the ambition to swim to Panama. It's in that direction. You take off there, keep swimming towards the sun as it's going down there, we'll meet you there. And I don't relish the thought of being incapacitated. But whatever happens, happens.
It will happen.
You know?
What do you consider the meaning of life?
The meaning of life, serving others, I think, as much as anything else, you know that? Enjoying life. There's a lot I don't understand. I don't understand space. Where did it start? Wait. Did it start?
Right.
If it started, what was before it?
Right.
Time the same. When did it start? So many light years ago, but what was before that? I don't understand that. I can't. It's beyond me. I have much the same attitude to religion. I don't understand what may be there. There is very likely, well, there are all sorts of things that I don't understand. I know that I've had mental communication with people who haven't said a word close to me and hundreds of miles, thousands of miles away. I've had a sudden feeling. I've had a sudden feeling. It's been based on something that's happened.
And this is as you've gotten mature?
Yes, but it's been for a long time. I've walked away from people thinking they might know what I'm thinking. Let me think about something else. Oh look, the sun's shining, the trees are waving, so they won't know what I'm thinking. And I do think, just like we don't know all the thousands of messages that are going past us now that are electronically generated, we don't know those that might be generated by our mind as well. I think they are there.
What would you say to both the younger population as well as our more mature audience to help them realize what the meaning in their own lives?
Care about what you're doing. Have a goal. It doesn't matter what that goal is. It may be very small. But have a goal, but care about what you're doing. What are you? A painter? Try and be the best painter there is. A labourer? Try and be a good working labourer and care about what you're doing. I want to be the best that I can be. When I was a boy swimming, I used to admire my friend Ronnie Walker because he looked so graceful and swam so well. He used to win races. That didn't matter to me, the winning races. What did matter to me is that I feel good.
Right, doing it.
And now I've had people compliment me on how well I swim. But it's just inside me. I'm not just splashing along. I'm swimming
Do it
well.
right.
You want me to swim a mile, I can do it. When I employed people in my water sports, they'd say, let me see you pick up this, I'm going to throw it in 30 feet of water. I could do that with no trouble. Yeah. Because I cared about doing it.
So it really sounds then that you're saying that that adage that age is just a number because you're only as
absolutely
old as you feel.
It doesn't worry me. It doesn't concern me. I'm out to enjoy life, and I do enjoy life. I have a social life which I enjoy. I can call people, male and female, let's go to dinner. Sure. And we have good fun. We go out. I've just been in London with my daughter and her daughter. My niece who came all the way from Australia to be with us. And we had a couple of weeks in London. We had a fabulous time together. When we went to a club, I was the one who was dancing. and the woman whom I danced with, whose fellow wasn't dancing with us, said, oh, you dance so well, you dance so well. I was enjoying life. And a fellow of about 40, a gentleman with a tie and so tapped me on the shoulder and said, good for you.
Well, Mr. Johnson, I hope you continue to enjoy life. Thank you for spending some time with us. As we always say, I hope this is not your last time. In the next, not just next year once you turn 90, but that 95th and that 100th birthday, we'd like to see how well you're doing after you've achieved that.
I'll invite you to my birthday party. There you go.
We'll take our final break and we'll be right back. Welcome back again. We've just concluded our discussion with Mr. Tony Johnson. But before we conclude, I have with us here Captain Nash. From what I can understand, you're probably the best person to give us some additional insight on Mr. Johnson. How long have you known him?
I've known Tony for over 50 years, I'm going to say.
Okay. And how did that relationship start?
It started out from him water skiing on this bay, Dickinson Bay here, in the afternoons. And I worked at Jolly Beach Hotel, and I was very much into water skiing in those days. And my idea was to come over here and patronize what he does. He does it so well, really.
And that was one of the things he spoke about, is the fact that when he does something or anything, he's going to do it to the best of his ability.
Most definitely.
It's amazing that an individual, and he scolded me for using the word old, so yeah. I won't use it, but mature. But an individual so mature has not just being able to accomplish so much, but to still be so youthful. From the years that you've known him, what do you think or what do you feel has contributed to his longevity?
I think activity. He lives very healthy, and he's always an active man. You know, he's been involved in so many. I've been involved with him in scuba diving, in sailing, which is one of his biggest hobbies, I think it is, and business also. Yeah, we've done a lot of sailing together around these islands here, and even beyond, going down to St. Lucia. When he moved down there, I sailed down. We sailed down with him. You know, I think it's various activities that he's gotten himself into.
Okay.
That's one of the things that contribute really to his.
The fact that you've known him for over 50 years means you're a mature individual of wisdom as well. What do you do to keep yourself as useful as you are?
I think the sailing contribute. I do quite a bit of walking myself, but sailing does contribute to.
There's that commonality of the ocean there.
Oh yeah.
He swims. He was telling us about the skiing and the windsurfing and the sailing and the building of the boat. What is it about the ocean?
I can't tell you. You would have to find out for yourself.
Research would have to tell us exactly what it is.
Most definitely, most
But,
definitely.
As the years have progressed and he's now pushing 90 and he doesn't look like
Oh no,
he's
oh,
going
no,
to
not
stop.
at all, not at all.
You think he'll ever retire?
He talks about it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Every now and again he tells you, you know, I've got somebody who's interested in buying the place. You know, he won't. No, I don't think, because what will he do?
True.
Yeah, you know, that was my question to him. What are you going to do?
And that was the thing that I think our discussion went down that road. The fact that being active, living well, the whole mind, having a positive attitude, doing for others is our take-home message for our viewers. Would you support that?
Of course, most definitely. And Tony has, and he's so good with people. He's done so much for people. You know, he's such a pleasant person to be around. You know, that I've totally enjoyed the years that I've spent with him and being around him. It really has. And I said, watch him grow into a very well matured person. Yeah, really.
So as we were talking earlier, the working with him secularly is more of a fringe benefit from the friendship, if you would.
Most definitely. You know, you look at people, and most of us look at people in life and make them our idol.
Right.
And that's who you want to be like. That's who you want to. These are roads you want to go down as you get older. And he's definitely a model for anybody who's got that kind of ambition.
So thank you again for spending some time with us. As I was saying before, I think I'm going to have to take you up on that offer about your little lady out there.
Would love to have you sailing with us one day.
It would
Great,
be my
great
honor.
way, great way to show you Antigua from the water.
Perfect. So thank you very much again.
Beautiful.
We look forward.
Been a
Hopefully this
pleasure.
won't be your last time on our program either.
All righty, good.
Take care of yourselves, Antigua and Barbuda. Thank you for spending some time with us and allowing us to share healthy perspective with you. Be well. May your perspective always be a healthy one.